We got some big breaking news in relation to Avengers The Kang Dynasty, or the lack of the Kang Dynasty, and Marvel Studios' pivot, which allegedly is to drop Kang altogether. He's done. Okay, so for this one, I had to do a little detective work because, oh man, there was a lot, and I mean a lot, of links. He said, she said, I link back to this guy, who links back to me, who links to somebody else, who links to somebody else, who links to an old article that's linking to a new article now because it's been updated. It was like a 8-minute rabbit hole I have to fall down, just being like, where is this taking me, to get the full scope of the picture and what's going on. So this, from what I can tell, goes all the way back to January, and Deadline's Justin Kroll talking about how Coleman Domingo was being eyed to play Kang the Conqueror and take over for Jonathan Majors. Then this story kind of went off on its own. We've been talking about potential Kang castings, and there's been tons of actors that have been brought up related to it. It's been a lot of chatter. But the most recent report stems from people spinning off of a report that was made by, I believe, Cosmic Circus, but then regurgitated by a couple of the websites that like aggregate things, and sometimes they don't credit. And hence how I found this was I had to like search up the direct quotes on Google and then see who they were sharing it from. Look, the reason I'm explaining this to you, and trust me, there is a reason, is because something got lost in translation. And that's how I came to this overwinded, overcomplex explanation of this rumor. So essentially what we got is that Cosmic Circus, one of their people, was saying, well, Kang is no longer the primary multiverse villain, and that they're not going to use him as like the big bad. That's why the Kang thing was dropped, the Kang Dynasty. And right now there's going to be another multiverse villain that takes center stage, while Kang is possibly relegated to maybe an off-screen death or an off-screen mention. And hey, look, they quickly disposed of him in this quick little, hey, look at this highlight, there you go, your new multiverse villain is here. Now, nobody's specifically saying that from what I could see over at like the circus or any of the other people using their report, but it's just kind of morphed into that by process of eliminating things. You know, it's like the old phone message trick, analogy, whatever you're gonna do, right? Whatever you want to say, where you're like, hey, I gotta tell you something, pass it along. And then you tell them something. And then 50 people down, it's evolved and added new context and changed the meaning of the original message to the point where you're like, how did we get from, I've heard that Sony is making a Bloodborne remake for PlayStation 5, to, I've heard Bluepoint is porting Bloodborne for the PlayStation to the Nintendo Switch 2 and the Xbox, but there won't be a native PlayStation 5 version as that's being ported to the PlayStation 6. Check it out on Game Pass. And you're just like, whoa, hold up, what? Like, that's what I'm talking about. So, I guess this report is stating Kang is not a factor anymore, but he still might appear. Which makes me ask more questions as it is, because that would contradict the actual report.